to Building Your Business. This is the show for passionate entrepreneurs who want to take their business to the next level. I'm your host, Kelly Sinclair, the Fairy Brand Mother, and I am keeping it real over here. I will always be sharing with you the behind the scenes, what goes great, what doesn't go great, how I'm feeling, entrepreneurship, marketing strategies, branding tips, all of the things that can help you to grow your business. So today I want to share a little bit about the behind the scenes of my most recent launch. So if you've been following along, you may have noticed that I was launching Brand Message Mastery for the second time since the fall. In fact, if I'm being honest, that program has evolved from what was initially a one-day in-person workshop to a course by a different name to Brand Message Mastery. So I have run the content in a few different formats, probably half a dozen times now. So in the fall, Brand Message Mastery was gangbusters, like so good. It was an amazing group. The launch went so well. Everything was like awesome. I was like, okay, well, I got to do that again, because don't we learn that once we find something that works in our business, we should repeat it, right? That makes sense. You should just optimize it, make it better, repeat it. So I'm like, Kate, that's what I'm doing. But it did not go as planned. I did not hit my goals. I was certainly disappointed by not reaching my goals, but I want to say one thing first of all. I am absolutely so grateful for the students that did register, that I get to walk through this program that I really believe in. The value of understanding your brand message and being really clear about what your business does, why you do it, and who it's for has so many positive benefits. So I am not going to stop believing in the value of what I have because of the numbers. So I would encourage you to think the same way. If you recently or have experienced a launch that didn't go the way you wanted, there's still opportunity in there. There's still positive in there. So my first piece of advice when it comes to this is pick yourself back up and keep going. So if you've been watching some of my social media, you're certainly seeing all my emotions coming out about entrepreneurship and that roller coaster ride that we are always on, where we try and it goes well, and then we try again and it doesn't go well, and we rip our hair out and we bang our head against a wall, which, by the way, is my theme song for the week. It's called Bang Your Head. It's by David Guetta. You should listen to it. It's how I feel. Banging my head against a wall, but I will rise above it all. Amazing lyrics. Songs are really speaking to me right now. But anyways, so I wanted to share with you the 5 key metrics that I am digging into this week to evaluate my launch, because there are numbers you can actually look at. There are stats that I can review that can give me some insights into what worked and what maybe didn't work overall in the launch. Sometimes we have this perception that is a lot different than the reality. The perception would be that the launch failed. The reality is 2 students joined me, and that is not a failure at all. So what are the other things that I'm going to be looking at? I want to share them with you, write them down, and keep track of these things the next time you are launching. Number 1, the obvious one, sales. The best way to tell about the success of your launch is the number of sales that you have. So track that. Don't only track the sales on how many there were, but when they came in, because those things might be attached to other things that you did with respect to your marketing overall. So looking at the date of the sale and how many sales came in, and looking at what you were doing in your marketing at the time of that. So whether it was from a sales conversation that you had directly, whether it was from a social media conversation you were having directly, whether it was a result of an email, whether it was a result of a webinar or a speaking opportunity that you maybe did, these are the kinds of things to look at. Number 2 is your email open rate. So if you're using an email marketing service provider, which you should be, then you can actually take a look at how many people opened your emails and percentages. So for every single email you send, you can see that information. And the open rate is typically dictated by the subject line. So if the subject line is enticing enough, that's what gets people to open it. And after the first one, when they know you're now in a sales series, they may drop off if they're not interested in that particular program at the time. And that's something that you can change on the back end. You can allow them to opt out of that series as well, so that works too. So look at the email open rate and then take a look at the subject lines you had for those emails and see what ones went really well. I'm going to be very curious to look at this in my launch because I used a lot of the same emails that I used the first time, and I'm going to compare them to each other. Did I change the subject line? Was it a different time of day that I sent it that worked better? Taking a look at that kind of information. The third thing that you can track is your email click-through. So once somebody opens the email, you want them to click on the link that takes them to your sales page. So what is the click-through rate, and which of your emails performed the best for click-through rate? So looking at the content then of the email being the thing that would have driven somebody to take that action, to click and to go and view your sales page. Number 4, you can track your sales page traffic and the conversion rate. So depending on where your sales page is hosted, if it's on your website and you have Google Analytics, that's a place you can look. For me, I can also see, so the sales page is on my website, but the shopping cart, which is the e-commerce plugin I have, is separate. I can look at who's actually also clicked through to the shopping cart. So I can look at all those numbers, and ultimately the conversion rate is the percentage of the people who clicked through all those things and ultimately bought the program or the product that you're selling, right? So looking at what the conversion rate was, and again, the dates. Mapping that out over the dates and what you were doing for marketing efforts on those particular dates. As well, just to back up one to the email click-through, you can see who clicked through, right? So if you actually, and I'm thinking this is something I want to do next time, if I'm actually paying attention on a daily basis to who's clicking through in my emails, I could take the opportunity to reach out to those people directly. Again, this is not a scalable approach, but if you're looking at just trying to really get connected with a handful of people who are potentially clicking, that might be a good way to do that. And so number 5 thing that you can track with respect to your launch is your social media engagement. So if you're doing a series of social media posts and lives and videos and reels and whatever it is during the launch time frame, you can take a look at what kind of engagement that's getting. That's the actual responses, views you can see on your stories, like all of these numbers. So I'm not a numbers person typically, but I love that there are all of these things that you can actually evaluate when it comes to launching that can give you information to help it make it better the next time. So let me recap those 5 metrics for evaluating your launch. Sales, email open rate, which is a percentage. And I think it makes sense for it to be lower than your typical email open rate, and so not to be too disappointed by that. Also your email click-through rate, your sales page traffic and overall conversions, and your social media engagement. So those are 5 areas where you can take a look at your launch and see what you might want to do next time. So the things, I'm just going to add a little bonus here, which are the more intangible, the things you can't track with a metric, the things that might have played a role in the results that you currently have. 1, your language, how you're actually describing your product or service, whether you have social proof as part of that, like testimonials. And for me, I thought this time I have like 15 amazing testimonials. So there's no way this launch can't be better than the last one, right? But the other thing to think about is the timing. So whether February is always a slow month, or because it's kind of like that post-Christmas, up here in North America, it's like the winter blues season. We've also got COVID coming up on 1 year, which is potentially like people just not wanting to do anything online, not anything extra, general like moods being where they are at. All of these things that I can't control, right? You can't control these things as the person providing the service or the product. And so what I tell myself and what I'm going to tell you is you just need to keep trying, keep learning, see what you can get for information out of it, and see what needs to change in the future. If it's not the content, like for me, I know it's not the content of the program. The program was great. I had great feedback, great results, great testimonials, great momentum from the last time. It's just perhaps my overall audience didn't grow enough to increase the pool of people that I was sharing the information to. Lots of questions, right? But there are those 5 numbers to look at that helps give you a framework. And for me, I'll be diving into those this week just to get some more insights as to how I can, adjust and move forward next time. All right, I'm going to cut it off there. Thank you so much for joining me. Drop your questions below or send me a message if you have any comments or questions about launching and stats and things that you look at. And I think honestly, launching is a mental game just as much as anything else. It's something where you have to have your energy in the right place to really have that shine through in any kind of marketing that you're doing during that launch time. And I don't know, maybe that was part of it for me too, The energy was, like I was pushing to have energy. I was just really tired in the last couple weeks. So again, things that you can change and you can iterate on, and that just applies generally to entrepreneurship. So looking forward to hearing your comments and questions on this topic. I will be back here next week, same time, same place. Make sure to subscribe to get these videos in your inbox. If you're not on my list already, I will make sure that the link to get the training is there. It's in my bio on Instagram and it's on my page here on Facebook. So have a fantastic week and I will see you later. Bye for now.